Hello, friends. I am Bishop Andy C. Luton. I want to welcome you to another episode of my weekly podcast, video podcast, that is, of This Week in Church History. Now, this week I am celebrating the life of Walter Raushenbush, who is best known as the father of the social gospel. He died on July 25th of the year 1918. And so this week in church history, we recall and remember this immense scholastic and academic giant by the name of Walter Raushenbush. Now, he was born October 4th in 1861 in Rochester, New York. He grew up in a German household, and at age 17, he had a rather deep and moving religious experience. However, he would confess that the religious experience he had relieved him of a sense of personal sins, but did not address the social sins that he saw all around him. After completing his early education there in Rochester, he actually went back to Europe to study and complete his preparatory school education, and he would return to the United States and would enroll in the Rochester School of Theology, where he would complete his theological degrees. Walter Raushenbush pastored the Second German Baptist Church in Hell's Kitchen of New York City. Now, his exposure to poverty and corruption and the mistreatment of individuals, inclusive especially of children, caused him to see and interpret the gospel as being necessary for changing the systemic evils and corruptions that plagued society. He was probably a representative of the more liberal wing of theological thought. He did not subscribe to the inerrancy of the Bible, nor did he subscribe to biblical literalism or the substitutionary atonement of Jesus Christ. But despite his liberal leanings, and even though he did not believe that the gospel should be preached with fire and brimstone, he did come to the conclusion that the purpose of the church was to transform conditions here on earth and make them more congruent with what heaven represented. In 1907, he wrote this book entitled Christianity and the Social Crises. 10 years later, not too long before his death, he would write a second book that was entitled A Theology for the Social Gospel. Now, the reason Walter Raushenbush is so extremely important to us is because of the impact and the influence he had on personalities that we are familiar and know. His subscription and his commitment to the social gospel laid the foundation for the work, life, and legacy of individuals like Martin Luther King Jr., who leaned very heavily on the theological posture of a Walter Raushenbush. Even Bishop Desmond Tutu was an advocate for the social gospel that was espoused by Walter Raushenbush. For me personally, being an adherent to liberation theology in the late 1960s and the early 1970s, persons like James Cone and other liberal theologians owe an intellectual debt to Walter Raushenbush because he framed the conversation that would actually give rise to liberation theology. So today, we celebrate the life of Walter Raushenbush, the father of the social gospel, a particular branch of theological thought in the area of theology in the Christian community. Friends, I am the historian of the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship, and if you take a look at the screen, I have placed on the screen a link that you can use to access some of the courses and material that we have put together primarily for our fellowship. However, not wanting to limit the availability and the accessibility of this material to just our Reformation, there is now on the screen a second link for those of you who have a healthy appetite for this kind of material, this subject matter. I invite you to take a moment, come visit with us, and learn exactly what it is that we have to offer here online. Well, friends, that takes up just about all of my time, and I certainly want to thank you for yours. Do know that God loves you. We love you. We look forward to seeing you soon. On behalf of the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship, where I am proud to serve as its historian, as well as friends and colleagues that I enjoy a relationship with from around the country, do know that God loves you. We love you. We look forward to seeing you soon. Therefore, go in peace, go in joy, go in love, and go in happiness. For the author of the same goes with you.